Hey guys, Frag here, and today I show you around Aura, Dirty Bomb's quick and agile medic. To avoid information in this video becoming outdated while the game continues to be patched, I try to avoid using exact numbers and specifics when talking damage and healing etc. This is because these change regularly throughout the game's updates. So, Aura. She has 80 HP and a run speed of 470. So regarding her health, her and Sparks have the least of all characters within Dirty Bomb. But, on the other side, her and Sparks also have the highest run speed within the game also, making her and of course Sparks a fantastic choice for players who like to move around quickly and stay agile on the battlefield. She is one of 4 available medics within Dirty Bomb, and her focus mainly revolves around healing and reviving teammates. Moving along to the main weapons for Aura now, the first of which is the Remberg 7. The Remberg 7 is the hardest hitting shotgun available for Aura, but also the slowest firing, and has one less round per clip than our second option. Meaning, if you would prefer to do most damage possible, and can land your shots well with shotguns, this would be your pick. Getting close, however, its effective range is also shorter than the second option. Speaking of which, our second option for Aura's primary weapons is the Holland's 880. So, as you can guess, this shotgun is the faster firing of our 2 options, has an extra round per clip, and has the more effective range. This couples nicely with the fact that one of Aura's best strengths is her speed. Using this shotgun on the fly is a nice complement to her agility in game. Picking between option 1 and 2 will come down to personal preference. If you'd prefer to hit harder at the cost of fire rate and a little less range, go the Remberg 7, but if you prefer to have a faster firing option, lean more towards the Holland's 880. For those who would like to know a little bit more about damage falloff, please see the link in the description. The last of our primary weapons for Aura is also the only rapid firing one, the Bishlock. So being that this is the only fast firing weapon for Aura, it will be an easy pick for some. Do you feel like shotgunning? No? Then use the Bishlock. In the world of SMGs, it is a slower firing, heavy hitting option, the most damaging in its class in fact. So once you get used to how this weapon fires, consecutive headshots will have the enemy dropping fast. The Bishlock is my favourite pick out of these 3 weapons, but only when I'm aiming well. The slow firing nature of this gun is a little bit unforgiving if you're not aiming well. Let's go have a look at the secondary weapons for Aura now, and the first of which is the M9. The next pistol available for Aura is the Colden. And lastly, the Selbstat 40. So what attributes do we look for in picking our favourite gun? For me personally, it's damage, and the Colden in this case is the most damaging secondary for Aura. And of course, as common trend would dictate with first-person shooters, the harder something hits, the slower it should fire. This is no exception for the Colden, as it is the slowest firing pistol out of our 3 choices. The Colden is also my favourite pick when we're talking about pistols, because I like the high risk, high reward sort of style gameplay. It shoots slower, but it does more damage, so if you're aiming well and you do put the time in to get your accuracy right, you're going to be rewarded with faster kills. When comparing the M9 and the Selbstat 40, the waters get kind of muddied, and I'm not sure what the go is here. They both share the same amount of damage, the same rounds per minute, except one of them has extra rounds in the clip. So it makes sense that the M9, having the higher rounds, you'd pick that, right? I'm not sure where they're going with this, but my preference here is Cold in first, M9 second, and the Selbstat 40 in at last. So given that you get cards to determine which weapons you get, when it comes to melee, I can't see anyone picking a certain card just because it has their favourite knife. Special exclusions, of course, for Phantom. So briefly, the choices for Aura are the Cricket Bat, the Beckhill Combat Knife, and the Stilnotto Stiletto. Cricket Bat being my absolute favourite because there's something about getting a Cricket Bat kill that's just oddly satisfying. So moving along now to Aura's skills. First up, the skill she's known best for, the Healing Station. So, with the Healing Station, you can just tap its assigned button. The default is Q to drop the station immediately in front of you, then you can reclaim it by being close, looking at it and pressing F. Alternatively, you can hold the default button and once you let it go, it will be placed down. However, in my opinion, it is best to select it using the inventory slot number. Default is 4. This then requires you to left click to drop it. No other buttons need to be pressed, keeping it in the arming position. This frees up the WASD keys for better movement while picking best placement of the tower. Moving along to her second and last skill, the Defibrillator. So much like her first skill, simply tapping its shortcut key, which by default is E, will cause the defibs to automatically briefly charge up, and if you're in range of a downed teammate, you'll be able to revive them. If you hold down the key, you can charge the defibs up. The longer you charge, the more health the player will have after they get revived. Of course, you can select it also by its inventory slot, which defaults out at 5. Much like the health tower, you're able to keep this out using this method and left click to charge up the defibs. Now of course, when talking loadout cards, not only does it change our weapons, it also changes our augments, and they are not all created equally. So let's have a look through now all of the available augments for Aura. Sneaky reduces the amount of sound you make while running. Healing Reach increases the healing radius of the healing tower. Double Time allows you to reload while sprinting. Springy, you can triple jump instead of double jumping. Enigma halves the time you spend being spotted. Flying Pig, you take no fall damage when landing. Chopper increases your melee damage by around a quarter. Quick Eye increases your move speed while iron sighted. Get Up increases the health given on revive. Cool increases the time taken to overheat an emplacement weapon. Drilled decreases time taken to reload. Quick Draw, you are quicker at pulling out your different weapons when selecting. Extra Supplies, cooldowns on skills are reduced by about a quarter. And finally, Potent Packs increases the health regen rate given by about 1/4. So of course, with Aura being a team player, we'd want everything that improves healing and healing capabilities. But of course, they're not available on all cards, so here's my top 3 picks. In first place is the BL41 Relief Operative, second is the H42 Nitro Close Assault, and finally the H72 Modern Close Assault. I picked the BL41 as my favourite because it's got the Bish Lock, it gives more health when you revive someone, Double Time lets you reload on the move, and of course Extra Supplies lets you plonk down healing towers faster. This seems to suit my playstyle very well. What do you guys think about this card? Leave your comment below if your favourite is different. I'm sure some people like to play a different way. Overall, I think it gives you a good loadout for Aura. So that completes the section of the video where we look at what's available, maybe what we should use, and things like that. Now it comes down to how we should best use Aura. So I'll go into some tactics that I generally use and some things to think about while you're playing her. Firstly, and probably the most obvious, is tower placement. I see a lot of players that get into firefights and they just chuck down a health tower right in the open because that's where your players are on your team and it just makes sense to have it right in the middle of them. However, you should always try to hide the tower from bullets. At this point, a lot of enemies are going to know that the health tower is very valuable to your team and they'll shoot it ASAP. Hiding this around walls and corners and other obstacles will allow you to keep the HP flowing. Secondly, how much do you understand about what's going on around you right now? This will make any player better, but it is really important when it comes to supporting your team. Where are your teammates taking fire from? Where will they want to move to after this firefight's complete? And if an enemy flanks, where are they going to come from? These things allow you to A, place your tower really well, and B, prepare you to respond better when the proverbial S hits the fan. The biggest and worst mistake I see auras and medics doing in general is they get a touch of the bloodlust and then they start getting engaged in firefights while there's 5 or 6 people on the ground in a down state waiting to get back in the fight. Remember that you're a medic first and a fighter second. Don't get everyone breaking their V2-1 keys because you're getting a little bit sidetracked. Conversely, don't forget that you need to be in the fight as well, because running around with paddles waiting for someone to die is not really the answer either. So it's about practice and knowing when to do what. Have some thick skin is what I'd recommend. I like playing medic a lot, and it's easy for players to blame the medic when things go wrong. Oh, where's the revives? Where's the revives, medic? Where? Sorry, it's getting personal. No, I'm just kidding. But, of course, you will hear that a lot, because it does feel like a lot of the time you're in the fight and the medic should just be standing around waiting for you, which is not always the case. So, get out your favourite plate of food and prepare to garnish it with your team's salt, because it's gonna happen. Just get used to it, and, where you can, take in a bit of information. Don't completely block it out and just say whatever. Take a bit of advice where you can between the sheer salt. Now, all these things coupled together will allow you to be a better medic in general, and of course specifically a better aura. So thanks very much for watching, guys. It's been a long time coming. Please leave a comment below for which merc you'd like to see next. A link to Vasily's how-to videos in the description if you haven't yet seen it, and after a week I'll tally the votes that you guys left for the next merc, and I'll begin making the next how-to video. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and as always, happy fragging.